Hello. In the previous lecture, we studied the meaning and nature of motivation. We also learned about the physiological and social motives and studied a few of them in detail. In today's lecture, we will be continuing on our journey of getting a comprehensive understanding of motivation. We will be looking at the various perspectives that have been taken in the study of motivation. Motivation is fundamental to understanding behavior. Hence, it is not surprising to note that the perspectives or points of view taken to study this concept are varied. Some of these theories are now considered to be defunct or no longer accepted. Yet, all the theories have helped advance our understanding of motivation and therefore should be studied. Given the varied perspectives that have been taken, we will be studying the theories over 2 lectures. In today's lecture, we will be studying the instinct theory, the drive reduction theory, the arousal theory, the expectancy theory, and the theory of goal setting. And in the next one, Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the self-determination theory. Instinct theory of motivation. Instincts are innate or inborn patterns of behavior that are not learned. Early theorists tried to explain motivation with the help of these biologically determined instincts. For example, the sight of a mouse makes the cat chase it. From an instinct theory perspective, a cat's inherited reflexes of chasing and running are triggered by the sight of the mouse and explain the behavior. In humans, protecting one's territory is the instinct which explains aggressive behavior. William McDougall was a proponent of this theory. He gave a list of 18 instincts like curiosity, flight, that is running away, to explore, to fight, and to mother offspring, to name a few. According to McDougall, these instincts were the motivational force for goal-directed behaviors in humans. This theory was appealing to researchers of the time, and the number of instincts added to the list went on expanding to a staggering over 6,000. However, the large number did not mean it was an effective theory. For example, if someone walks alone, according to this theory, it is because he is guided by an antisocial instinct. As stated in the example, it is seen that instincts included were merely names and descriptors, but did not explain why the behavior was occurring, that is the motivation. Another criticism was the circular explanation that it encouraged. Why do people behave in an aggressive manner? Because of the aggression instinct. Do you see the circularity here? The instinct explains the behavior, but the behavior is evidence for the cause. There is no independent method to verify if the instinct really exists. These drawbacks and criticism led to the rejection of the instinct theory as an explanation for motivation. It did, however, help focus researchers' attention to hereditary factors as being important in understanding behavior. Drive reduction theory. After the instinct theory, the next influential theory on motivation was the drive reduction theory. This theory also has a strong biological foundation and is based on the idea that the function of behavior was to satisfy bodily needs. Hull proposed the drive reduction theory. This theory associated internal physiological states with behavior. There are 2 concepts, needs and drive, that we need to be familiar with. A need is defined as a requirement of some material like food, water that is essential for survival. These needs cause a disruption to homeostasis. Homeostasis refers to the internal or biological state of balance the body tries to maintain. Any deviation from homeostasis is experienced as a state of psychological tension and physical arousal known as drive. This drive pushes the individual to satisfy the need and reduce tension. When we feel thirsty, need, it causes us discomfort, drive. Our throat feels dry and we do not like it. In order to alleviate the discomfort, we drink, which is the motivated behavior, a beverage. The drive is responsible for energizing behavior, that means it pushes us into action. The behavior that helps reduce the tension is strengthened and repeated. Behavior that fails to do so is weakened. Drives are categorized into two. Primary drives involve needs that are related to survival, like hunger, thirst, etc. Secondary drives are also known as acquired drives, involve needs that are learned either through experience or conditioning, like need for money, approval, etc. The theory is helpful in explaining motivated behaviors people indulge in to reduce tension created by needs, yet there are some behaviors that people routinely perform which cannot be explained. There are certain motives that do not have corresponding biological needs. Some people who are on a diet will not eat even if they are hungry. People might perform behaviors that increase tension rather than reducing it. For instance, people who take part in adventure sports like bungee jumping are intentionally increasing their internal tension and levels of arousal. External or environmental sources can also motivate people. For instance, you might drink even if you are not thirsty if you are offered your favorite soft drink. Despite the initial enthusiasm about this theory, researchers realized that the theory was not sufficient to explain motivation. Before we move on to the next theory, answer whether the statements are true or false. Instincts can be inborn or learned patterns of behavior. 2. The experience of psychological tension and increased arousal is known as needs. 3. A circular explanation is one that attempts to explain an observation in terms of itself. Answers: 1 is false. Instincts by definition are always innate or inborn. 2. False. The explanation provided is for drive. 3 is true. Arousal theory. Arousal refers to the level of alertness or state of readiness to respond or general level of activation. Throughout the day, our level of arousal varies. Before going to bed, it is generally lower compared to while socializing with friends, when it will be higher. In the drive reduction theory, it is seen that sometimes people try to increase the state of tension rather than reducing it. The arousal theory of motivation was put forth as an alternate theory. According to this theory, people try to achieve an optimal level of arousal and not a minimum one. Our behaviors are motivated to maintain these optimum levels. The optimal level of arousal is determined by two factors: personal characteristics and the nature of the activity. One of the personal characteristics that has been studied is known as sensation seeking. A sensation seeker is someone who needs higher than average levels of arousal. These individuals might like to try out new things, move to a different city, or try adventures like paragliding and bungee jumping. On the other hand, there are people who need less levels of arousal to be motivated. Experiencing very high levels of arousal like we do when we are anxious tends to negatively affect our performance. For example, if you are very anxious and nervous before a stage performance, you might freeze and forget your dialogues while acting. On the other hand, very low levels of arousal can also be a bad thing. For instance, if you are bored, you may not be very committed to the task and you will not perform well. It is seen that in general, the level of arousal required for optimal performance differs based on the difficulty level of the task. The relation between task performance and the level of arousal can be explained by the Yerkes-Dodson law. According to the law, there is an inverted U relation between arousal and performance. As depicted by the graph, there is a relatively poor performance at both the lower and the higher levels of arousal. A moderate level of arousal is seen to be optimum for most tasks. The nature of the task itself is important. Let us understand this with the help of an example. For Saif, geography is the easiest subject he has to study. We can think of this as an easy task. He studies for his geography paper only a few days before the exam, as at that time his arousal is high and motivates him to study. On the other hand, he finds French very hard. This is a difficult task. A few weeks before the exam, he is already concerned, and this motivates him to start studying. Thus, for an easy task, high levels of arousal are required, and for a difficult task, lower levels of arousal are sufficient to motivate our behavior. This example also illustrates that the optimum level of arousal differs for each individual. The theory is useful in explaining motivated behavior in a lot of situations, but it is hard to predict what optimum level of arousal is. This is a drawback of the theory. Expectancy theory. This theory takes a cognitive approach to the study of motivation. It is believed that behaviors are determined by our thoughts about how our current behavior will influence future outcomes. According to this theory, motivation is not seen as something that pushes us to action based on drives, urges, and other biological factors. It is conceptualized as something that is pulling us to achieve a desired outcome. For instance, we watch the news every day. This does not satisfy a biological need. Our motivation to watch may be based on wanting to be well informed and knowledgeable about what is happening around us. The behavior is motivated by the desired outcome or incentive. Incentives refer to anything that we find valuable. This could include money, fame, knowledge, friendships, etc. Why do people indulge in sometimes painful and difficult behaviors such as strenuous physical training, studying for long hours, or working without vacation time? The answer lies in what they expect to gain from it, that is, the desirable incentives that await them. Motivation cannot be explained exclusively in terms of incentives. Instead, psychologists believe that it is often a combination of the two: push theories, that is biological factors, and pull theories, that is incentives. You might be feeling thirsty and you choose to drink a soft drink rather than water to quench your thirst. The soft drink is seen as more rewarding and therefore is chosen. Goal setting theory. Imagine you have a big assignment due in a month. I want you to take a few moments to think about how you might deal with this situation. My guess is you would probably note down all the things that you need to do. Maybe you need to research about the topic, organize your ideas, and then write the paper. After this, you might decide that you will allocate 1 week to research and organize your ideas, and then give yourself another week to write. You have a plan and fixed goals you are working towards, and you are most likely to be on the path to complete the assignment within the deadline. According to Locke and Latham, motivation is influenced by setting behavioral goals. We accomplish more when we set concrete goals. Goal setting is most effective when it is done keeping certain factors in mind. 1. Specific. It is useful to set a goal that is specific and narrow rather than a vague one. Telling someone to do well in their exams is not a well-framed goal. It is too broad. Instead, telling them to try to improve their performance by 2 to 3% in their exam is a specific goal and helps them focus on what they need to do in order to achieve it. 2. Challenging and attainable. Goals that are too easy pose no challenge or sense of achievement, and those that are too difficult might be unattainable and demotivating. A goal that is moderately challenging is motivating and gives a sense of hope. 3. Feedback. Getting feedback is very important. Based on the feedback, individuals can modify their behavior if needed in order to attain the goal. 4. Short-term and long-term goals. Goal setting is effective when short-term and long-term goals are formulated. Short-term ones encourage people to keep working and provide a sense of mastery. These goals can be seen as stepping stones. Each small goal that is achieved sets you up for success to eventually reach the top, which is the long-term goal. For example, Chitra wants to be a doctor. This is her long-term goal. She has broken this into a number of short-term ones. Every time she achieves one of them, like getting a distinction in her 12th board exams, getting a good score in the entrance exam, it gives her the confidence that she is moving in the right direction and motivates her to continue to study. The incentive theory and the goal setting theory have both been found to be very effective to help increase motivation in the workplace. Let us take a moment and reflect on what we have learned by answering the fill in the blanks. 1. The optimum level of arousal for most tasks is A. Low, B. Moderate, C. High. 2. The expectancy theory is based on the idea that dash motivates behavior. A. Incentives, B. Drives, C. Goals. 3. According to the goal setting theory, goals are motivating when they are dash. A. Vague, B. Specific, C. Easy. The answers are 1. B, 2. A, 3. B. With this, we have come to the end of today's lecture. We studied about the different perspectives taken in understanding motivation. Some of the theories focused on biological factors such as the instinct and the drive reduction theory. These are push theories. These push theories were instrumental in focusing attention on hereditary and biological aspects. These theories gave way to perspectives that took a cognitive approach such as the arousal theory, the expectancy theory, and the goal setting theory of motivation. While each of the theories have some limitations or drawbacks, they do help explain motivation under certain conditions. I hope you found today's lecture interesting and informative. Thank you.